Chairman, dear colleagues, first of all, thank you for inviting me to this great workshop. So I have no any potential conflict of interest concerning the topic of my speech. So this is a Moscow city. The Moscow population now is nearly 12 million people. The myocardial infarction network was started 5 years ago. And at this moment, it consists of 24 PCI-capable centers, which are ready to intervention 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. On this slide, you can see how it works in Moscow. The call from patient with heart attack symptoms is an emergency for ambulance. The nearest ambulance car goes to the patients, performs short examination, of course with ECG, and in case of acute coronary syndrome confirmation, the patient will be hospitalized to a nearest PCI-capable hospital. There is a computer network which provides information about cath lab availability in hospitals and pre-notification about incoming patient. It's very important. Our hospital can close hospitalization but by one mouse computer click only. Click, I'm busy. The cath lab is busy or out of order. Here you can see the results of Moscow myocardial infarction network. This is the STEMI patients. The number of primary PCIs is increasing. At the same time, the mortality rate is decreasing. There's patient with still elevation myocardial infarction, there's patient with non-STEMI. You can see the same trend. The number of PCI increasing and mortality decreasing. We decide to use the myocardial infarction network for stroke patients because each center in Moscow have about CT and MRI department, neurology department with a stroke unit, and cath lab, of course. But the main question was, who will perform the intervention for stroke? Because only one hospital in Moscow have real neurointerventionalist. 1 year ago, unfortunately, they have no any experience with stroke for stroke patients and no 24 hours service. And we decided to involve interventional cardiologists for stroke patients' treatment. We select 9 PCI-capable centers for stroke treatment. This is now interventional stroke centers. And begin education. Because the anatomy is different, principle of intervention is different, and other tools, different principles of anticoagulation, etc. 3 steps. The first step is computer simulators and flow models to understand the brain anatomy, vessels anatomy, and principles of different technique. Second line is animal laboratories in Europe and workshop with speakers from high-volume stroke centers. The design of our stroke network is mothership. That is why we're using a pre-hospital selection criteria. If pre-hospital selection criteria of large vessel occlusion is positive, patient will be hospitalized only to interventional stroke center. And we use also the same computer network to provide pre-identification about incoming patient. This is our pre-hospital inclusion criteria. At the start, we used 4 hours window, but now we increase it to 6 hours. We're using the Los Angeles motor scale. It's quite simple, very useful for doctors as well as for paramedics and for nurses. If patients have 4 and more points by Los Angeles motor scale, no coma, no SOPR, the patient will be hospitalized to selected interventional center. Otherwise, the patient will be hospitalized to the nearest stroke unit. It can be interventional center, but not mandatory. And this is in-hospital selection. The first step is neuroimaging for everyone to confirm ischemic stroke and to exclude hemorrhage. The next step is non-invasive angiography for everyone, not only for LVO confirmation. We perform the CT angiography from aortic arch to the intracranial vessels to understand the root. It is very important for interventional specialists. Also, we're using the aspects and time from stroke onset to arterial puncture less than 6 hours. But we also treat patients with wake-up stroke and late presenters, but only when we see mismatch according to CT perfusion data. The CT scan is a meeting point. The ambulance in Moscow takes patients directly to the CT scan. This is the first room for stroke patient, where neurologists and radiologists made examination, perform CT, and only in case of emergent large vaginal occlusion confirmation, they call for anesthesiologist and interventional cardiologist. We clearly understand that emergent intervention is not a proper time for improvisation. This is 3 different strategies which we can use in Moscow for thrombectomy. The first is classical balloon guided stent retriever, classical technique, the aspiration, and the combination of aspiration with stent retriever. At the beginning, the first and second option, it was not our option, but now, in vast majority of cases, we prefer to use the combination of aspiration and stent retriever simultaneously as a frontline strategy. We try to use the captive and safe. If we cannot put our aspiration catheter close to thrombus, we use the pinion arch, and we try not to use as a classical salambra technique, because when we fully insert our stent retriever in the aspiration catheter, we can provide the distal embolization, as you can see here. This is our frontline strategy, to put the stent retriever in the place of thrombus, pull up the aspiration catheters, and then pull out simultaneously aspiration catheter with the stent retriever. This is a typical case. The distal RCA occlusion was crossed by microcatheter. After distal injection, we put the stent retriever in the place of thrombus, and then put up during aspiration our aspiration catheter. After that, we pull out simultaneously aspiration catheter with the stent retriever during balloon inflation with good angiographic result. Our aim to fix by aspiration catheter the proximal part of thrombus and to avoid distal embolization. This is the first result of 11 months. 248 patients was treated by thrombectomy. The mean NIH was nearly 16. The times from symptom onset to call is the mean time is 47 minutes. From ambulance call to hospitalization, 52 minutes, and from puncture to recanalization is nearly 48 minutes. They modify Rankin scale from 0 to 2 at hospital discharge at 32, and symptomatic hemorrhagic transformation is nearly 7%. Now we start information for population, because not only doctors must understand that the time is brain, because we are need for early presenters. And the conclusion, an up-to-date infarction network was built in Moscow. The number of primary PCIs is increasing and mortality is decreasing in acute coronary syndrome patient. And this myocardial infarction network laid the foundation for the stroke network focused on treatment with stroke patient with large emergent vessel occlusion. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. We have a couple of minutes for discussion. Peter?
I'm not sure, you said you're using the aspiration catheter in relation to the stent retriever. What size of the guide are you using?
Because the aspiration catheter is fairly large, and often it's sufficient just to aspirate, just to put a syringe on the guide and aspirate while you're retrieving. So what is the advantage of the aspiration catheter in place?
Thank you. It's a very important question. We can use several approaches. The first, 9 French balloon guiding with 6 French aspiration catheter, like a ACE 68. We have no catalyst in our country. We use stent river. Another possibility is to use not balloon guiding catheter, the regular 8 French guiding catheter with 6 French aspiration catheter, like a Penumbra ACE. We use stent river. Another possibility to use 8 French balloon guiding catheter with 5 French catheter. It's not a good aspiration like Sophia catheter by microvention with stent river. 3 possibilities.